Howdy, y'all. We're back. We went ahead and got all that cut out and had a good time with it. And, you know, the fun and cool thing about it is I told you it'd be about 35, 45 to an hour. It actually took me the long as for me to preview the video while I was doing this. So it was about 35, 40 minutes for me to cut the other 4, as long as it took for me to cut just 2. So, welcome back to Handsome Hog. Here we are. We're going to now go ahead and show you the rub portion of what we do. And I've already done a secret portion of it. I promised that you would not be able to view me doing. But you could probably figure some things out from there, but you will not know the type of product that I'm using. Sorry, I can't give it all away. But I'm going to go ahead now and start putting on the rub. I'm going to grab some gloves real quick, and our videoer here is going to go ahead and show you the briskets where they are now. Oh, those briskets look scrumptious. Now remember when I told you earlier that I do a braised smoke, and all of my meat goes straight into a pan. And because it's gone into a pan, I'm not going to lose any of my drippings throughout this whole cooking process. Hence the term braised smoke, because we're going to be braising it with liquids. All right, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and put our rub on. Now for me, I try to make sure that I put just the right amount of rub. I don't want to put too much. I don't want to put too little. However, the flavor profile is going to cook into the meat, but also permeate into the juices, so that when I use those drippings for other things that you guys have come to love here, you kind of see how that works. So I've got a little bit of my rub, and I'm going to go ahead and drop a little bit on here, just so I can see it go on. Now, I'm looking for a certain consistency of rub as I go on. I put somewhere right around 8 to 12 ounces of rub on mine. You can do as much as you want with yours. You can do the Texas version, which is just salt and pepper. I like to put my rub that we make, because that's the way you guys have come to love it. So once I get it all put on here, then I go back and get that clean hand, dirty hand effect going. Right now I'm keeping the clean hand going, and then I'll get nice and dirty when I start to rub this in. And I use the word rub very loosely, because I'm not really going to actually rub my meat. I've already done that with my catalyst that I have on it. And for your catalyst, you can use anything you want. You can use mustard like some people do. Some people use olive oil. Some people use butter. It's whatever you feel your flavoring, how you want it to stick to it, because your meat is dry when you go to put your rub on in the first place. But I use the catalyst that I use because of why I use it. So now that I've gone ahead and put that on here, I'm just going to go ahead and break up these big chunks, as you can kind of see me doing here. And I'm going to take it over here to the edges, and I'm kind of just going to roll it up underneath the back side. Now, you remember that area that I cut earlier? I'm going to go ahead and take some of that rub now, and I'm going to rub it into this section. And that's all I'm doing, is just kind of throwing it in there, getting it laid in there. And then that's pretty much it. If I got a little more I need from one of the other ones, I'll just steal it from it. I can always go back and get some more rub and put on it when I get down to the last one. But ultimately here, all I'm doing is getting just that little bit of rub, getting it in there, folding it in, like I kind of said earlier, putting it to bed kind of thing. So that's pretty much it. Now I'm just going to let the rub and the sugars do whatever they're going to do. And yes, I do use a little bit of sugar in my rub, and there's nothing wrong with that, because that might be the way that some of you like it, especially when you come and try ours. But it's not over sweet. I don't believe in making brisket over sweet. You don't have to put any kind of barbecue sauce on our brisket because of the way it renders down and the way it flavors out. But you can do whatever you want for yours. I know with mine, most people don't like to put any sauces on mine when it's done. So like I said, we're just going to kind of roll it around the point here, just get enough on it to where as it starts to do its cooking process, it gets that nice bark on it, because that bark is everything. If you don't have a good bark on your meat, you probably did something wrong. You probably should start back over or get you another piece of meat and do it again. It's probably because you are new at this and you made a small mistake or thought you had enough. It is possible. It is very, very possible. All right, remember what I said about clean hand, dirty hand. I took my glove off so I could get back in here and get me a little bit more of it. And I'm going to come right back over it real quick so I can get down in the point of this last one. And what I want to do is just get enough rub on it to where it looks good, but it's not overly. It'll start to change colors, I guess is what I'm saying, with all that moisture that you have in there. And once it starts to get that little bit of a mahogany look here before we even start to cook it, that's what we're going to look for in our complete cook during that whole process. So as you see here, this is looking pretty good. I'm going to look back into this flap, make sure everything looks good. I'm going to look. I don't like the way that part there looks, so I'm going to grab just a little bit, tuck it into my hand, and just kind of rub it up underneath of it. Because as Lagasse likes to say, I don't know where you get your meat from, but where I get mine, it ain't flavored. Well, it's just kind of the same thing here. We just want to make sure that we get a little bit of rub in those areas. Now, as you can see in there, you see that bed of fat that we talked about earlier. I've got a nice bed in there, and all of that is going to make a nice juice for this. By the time it's time for me to cover it, I'll have enough juices that's rendered off into this that it'll then start to braise, creating the moisture, causing it to sweat during that process. And we're not going to go and do a video on that per se. We've done it one before. We might do another one sometime, but it won't be with this. But we are going to cut one of these briskets when it's all done, and that video will probably come up, say, on Wednesday. We'll probably do that. That's probably when we'll pull these off, because I'm going to be putting these off on real early in the morning, and they'll cook most of the day tomorrow. And then when we take them off from there, we'll go ahead and cut them. But you got to spank your meat. You know, I always say that. It's fun to spank your meat. It's even funner to eat this meat and get it in your mouth. That is for sure. You know y'all want it. You got to come and get it. I appreciate y'all watching these short videos today. I guess the other one was a little bit longer, 35 minutes. I told you this one here wasn't going to be very long at all. We're done. It's rubbed. I don't need to do anything more to this. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to cover them, and I'm going to put them in the refrigerator and let them marinate for about 8 to 9 hours. If you want the best you can get out of your meat, definitely prep it ahead of time, put it in the fridge, let it marinate, and you're going to get some really great results from your cook. Even if you're cooking in just your oven, you know, marinate your meat. So this meat now is going to sit in the refrigerator for the next 8 to 9 hours, and then we're going to put it on real early in the morning. And once we get it put on, when it's all done, then we have another process that we go through before we even cut it to serve it to you, and that'll all happen on Wednesday. So we'll do the video then. So again, I appreciate y'all coming out, watching some more videos with me. Thanks, Gary, for coming out. Clint Copeland, too bad you weren't here. I know y'all love that barbecue when we brought it out to you. But Handsome Hulk, 549 Main Street, Groveport. You know you want it. Come get it. Come get you some Q. See ya.
I told you. Am I done?
Yeah, you started losing it there.